Having fun this weekend in San Diego, but it's kind of a redundancy, isn't it? I have fun every weekend in San Diego. And I tell you what, this is an amazing situation. Robin Stark has been with us before, and we've talked about wine a lot. But of course, the holiday season is coming up, Robin. And I don't know about you, I know about you. The bubbly comes out a lot because you're celebrating. It's the holiday season, friends are over, people you haven't seen in a long time, all that kind of stuff. You're celebrating with food and with wine. But to start things off, typically, nice glass of champagne.
You got that right. I think it's a huge percentage. It's like 80% of sparkling wine gets sold in December.
There you go.
And it's that time of year, but there are many people out there. We used to have a wine writer here named Maria Hunt at Union Trib, and she used to always say, you should be drinking sparkling wine every day. And she had a calendar, 365 days of sparkling wine.
There you go.
So
there's something to that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
My mother has champagne cocktails every time we go out. I took her out to dinner last night. Champagne cocktails.
I love that little Kir Royale.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful way to start.
Exactly.
It's a little girly-ish, but yeah.
Well, that's my mother.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to to the males out there, but yes, and there is no reason not to drink a lot more sparkling wine because they are actually really good priced.
Let's talk about the sparkling wine part first, because people have to understand champagne, which they say is all sparkling wine. No. Champagne comes from this little bitty place in France where they're very jealous about that name being only applied to their product.
That's exactly right. It's just like Roquefort cheese and Burgundy that we talked about last month. You only call it champagne if it's from that little region of France, and that's why this is a domestic product that's a sparkling wine. This is a German product that's called Sekt. This is what S-E-K-T, Sekt. And then we are going to finish up with a champagne from the champagne
like the real one.
It's a real one.
But the sparkling wines are also very good, and they come in a whole variety of different tastes. I mean, sparkling wines is a huge variety.
You got it. Yeah. Almost every country has some kind of sparkling wine. In Italy, it's Prosecco, Asti Spumante. In Australia, they make beautiful, beautiful sparkling wines. And they're such a better price typically than champagne. You know, there's nothing wrong with Veuve Clicquot. You go to a party with Veuve Clicquot and
I'll drink that all night.
Yeah, people will be, they're going to be happy you do that. But with Veuve, that's owned by Louis Vuitton. Yep. Louis Vuitton owns Dom Perignon, they own Veuve. They know a little bit about marketing and pricing, a high price for a luxury good. Every one of these is, in many ways, I would rather drink than Veuve. And they're all a lot less money.
So talk about that. How much less money are we talking?
Okay, well, the first one, Scharfenberger, this comes in, when they do tastings, this so often wins as the best under $20
Under 20?
Yeah.
That is a bargain.
Yeah, it's $16.95 at Vons right now. And Scharfenberger, some people might recognize that name. He created a chocolate company.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he actually left. He doesn't make this wine anymore. This wine is now owned by Roeder. You've probably seen Roeder Estates. And Roeder is also the French champagne house that owns Cristal.
Right.
So it's a very high quality product. It's made in the correct method of making champagne.
But here in California.
It's up by Mendocino.
Wonderful.
And if you see traditional, this says traditional method, this says traditional method, that means they're doing it just like anyone who's gone to Champagne knows that, in France, that the way they do this is they do a secondary fermentation to wine in each bottle. That's why they make the bottle so much thicker. Because the CO2 that is created in that secondary fermentation has to be contained.
Yep.
Bottles used to blow up all over all the time. That was actually Dom Perignon's
job. And plus they're going into
job.
those wine cellars and they're riddling, right? They turn them a quarter turn by hand.
Every day. Well, some people.
Okay, some people.
I don't think that's happening at Scharfenberger.
Not at $16.95.
I think there's a machine that's riddling them.
That's riddling them.
Yeah, but in the long run.
Okay, so what does that taste like? My mouth is getting ready for the...
Okay, time to try some Scharfenberger.
All right, Scharfenberger.
One of the things that they always say when you look at champagne is you want to see a consistent size of the bubbles. Okay? So, if you see really big bubbles and little tiny bubbles, there's probably something wrong.
This is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah. So let's see.
Now, you've taught me I got to take a little whiff first.
Yeah.
You don't
have to do that so much.
But it does have an incredible bouquet, though.
It really does. This is half Pinot and half Chardonnay.
That is absolutely wonderful. I taste the holiday spirit already.
And you get a little of that kind of biscuity, yeasty quality because this is made in a very high quality method, which is where the yeast that sits there when they do the secondary fermentation, they leave it on for quite some time. The grape juice is on that yeast for a long time, and it just makes for beautiful biscuity quality.
So compared to the next one.
Okay, now Sekt is almost always made with Riesling, and the Germans, you know how Germans are.
They're different.
They're different from the rest. They sure aren't the French. And the way the Germans, this is, again, just done with a traditional method, and this is still a great price wine. This is $21.
$21.
Yeah, and that's from Truly Fine Wines. Truly Fine is owned by Damon in, I think it's down off of Morena, and kind of by the Costco there.
Oh, yeah.
And he has all kinds of Rieslings, not just sparkling, and a lot of people think, oh, I don't want to drink Riesling, but they think it's going to be sweet, sugary. But Rieslings are some of the most perfect wines for barbecue and things like that.
Let's try that one.
Yeah, and then they make a beautiful sparkling wine.
For barbecue, what kind of barbecue? What do you mean? Or Riesling goes with barbecue?
Oh, Riesling is so good with barbecue. If Phil's barbecue was smart, he'd have a Riesling list. It's really traditionally one of the best pairings.
Well, that's real tasty too.
And that's much more about the grape.
Yep.
That tastes like Riesling.
Like a Riesling grape. Absolutely.
Okay, so I told you I wasn't going to open a bottle of champagne on live TV because all I need to do is have this thing go popping up. And,
it'll only break a $20,000 lamp.
Yeah, or pop someone's eye out, Let's see.
He lost that line.
Okay. Okay, I'm not going to point this towards any human.
Oh, you know what to do. You've uncorked a billion of these.
So the way that, since people often ask, how are you supposed to do this?
How do you do this?
Yeah, don't shake it up. Don't,
Oh, God.
Unless you just won the World Series, then it's perfectly fine.
Then it's perfectly okay.
Okay, but the real secret is when you hold it at a little bit of an angle, and then you turn the bottle,
Turn the bottle.
Yeah, and you kind of push the cork down because I can already feel it coming out.
That was a wonderful sound. My favorite holiday sound. Didn't spill a drop. The lady's a pro, okay?
Okay, and now number two, when you pour it, sometimes I see people and it's like
it goes all over the place.
Right. So you got to pour it slow. You got to hold it at an angle, and then that's going to dissipate just the right amount so it has a nice head. Now this GOSSET.
Tell me what we're drinking now. What is this?
They are the longest running champagne house in France. They started, see, I didn't go slow enough, and see, I got a little too much foam there.
There you go.
But GOSSET has been around longer than any of the other houses, 1594 or something like that. And
wasn't there a monk that discovered the champagne accidentally?
Dom Perignon did not discover it. Dom Perignon, they've been making sparkling wine forever.
But I loved his line when he
I see stars.
Monk, he says, "This is like drinking stars."
Yeah, and the guy was blind, right? So, but that's it. It's all a myth.
But I love those myths.
It's a great story. But actually, Dom Perignon was in charge. He was a cellar master at what is now Dom Perignon Champagne House at Moet. Hennessy owns, but
should try some of this.
his job was to really keep the bubbles out mostly because they had so much problem with secondary fermentation since it would get warm and they didn't have temperature control.
Yeah.
So really, the real job for most of the people in those days was to try to keep the bubbles out of the wine. But then the English decided they loved it back around the 1800s.
And the French will sell you anything.
Well,
we got to go, Robin.
They went along with it.
Have happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Cheers.
by.